All right, we'll move on to the Chief Financial Officer's report.
Good evening. If we could please go to Board Book page 22. I would like to highlight the May 2019 financials. This is 11 months of our current budget, 92%. Total monthly revenue for the month of May was $737,000 approximately. Of that 700 of it was operating revenue. Our main sources of revenue for the month was real estate taxes, evidence-based funding from the state, and then we did receive some payments from the state for special ed reimbursement and special ed private facility to get our third payment that we were expecting. On the expenditure side, there was a total of $2.19 million for total, and then out of that, total operating expenditures were $2.165. The other remaining was a payment for the HVAC project that's going on in the pool. If we look under the expenditure items, salary and benefits accounted for $1.5 million. And then, of course, I always highlight our out-of-district tuition, which was at $141,000 for the month of May. Fund balance at the end of May, $17,800,000 approximately. And as a reminder, I always mention this, the $3 million is restricted towards potential land acquisition for the fields out there. If we flip to Board Book page 23 and go over the financial statements, the first one that you'll see on page 23 is the beginning fund balance plus our revenue minus our expenditures out there for every fund, operating and other funds, the non-operating. If we look at the revenue side on Board Book page 24, the big piece here that I want to highlight is we're at 99% of budget for revenue. We do have a few payments coming in for evidence-based funding, and there will be some extra revenue generated for fees coming in and various things. So 99% of budget through 11 months, that should be really close to exactly what is budgeted out there. I think that's a pretty good capture of what work went into this particular budget to try to be as accurate as possible to really capture a true picture of it. So that's, I think, really good at 99%.
Question on the state funding that's coming in. With the budget wrapping up and Springfield seemingly working, are we on schedule then for those payments? Are these?
Yes, we're going to receive 2 more evidence-based funding payments.
Okay. And do those come regularly, twice a month?
Yes,
okay.
Those come regularly.
So we should expect those before July 1st?
Yes.
Okay.
So roughly $173,000 should come in the month of June.
Okay.
With the property taxes that we're still chasing.
Property taxes we're still
didn't want to ask that
chasing.
one, yeah.
They're about 99% of budget on that. So hopefully we get another tax collection, a small amount that will put that very close to 100%. But if you look in the actual revenue expense report and look at current year taxes and prior year taxes, it's pretty close when you're looking at budgeting wise to come within 50 grand of taxes out there. That's a pretty good guess as to what you think you're going to collect, and that's a lot of work goes into that to kind of figure out what trends are out there, what to estimate as far as inflation on it, and then also looking at, okay, are we going to get the collection, are we not going to get the collection, looking at 3-year history, working with the auditor to make sure that we're looking at the stuff correctly. So a lot of work goes into that collection rate to even get really close with that. So it is very close throughout all funds.
And that 50,000 is of roughly almost 17 million. If I'm looking at that right on the first page of the report, page
Of the revenue
26.
expense report, yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If we go to the operating expenditures, the expenditure report on page 25, if you look at our operating expenditures, we're at 90% of budget. If everything goes right, it should be about 2% under what was budgeted out there with it. Normal payroll still has to run. In June, I didn't see any major purchases out of the ordinary that were on the board bills. So that should come in under budget when we get the actuals for June 30th on that. Some of the other ones that are under capital projects, we didn't transfer the additional 150, that's where that is. Life safety, remember, we can only address items that didn't interrupt the flow of the school day on it, so there will be more payments coming as we get more pay applications from Mechanical Concepts for the pool air handler. There was one that was a late addition in board book for pay app number 3 that I think everyone got the email with it. And then moving on to page 26 was the revenue expense report. There was a question submitted on rental revenue. There probably was a mistake that was put into the ed fund on page 27 under source 1910. It probably should have been, instead of being under the ed fund, it should have went under 20, which captures all our rental revenue on it. So I just think what happened was it was an error keying it in.
So wait,
with
where are
it.
you at, Scott?
On, let's see, page 27, I believe, of board book.
10-19-10 is rental.
Yes,
so we only
rental.
have 950.
For 950, that probably should have been 20-1910. So it was just a keying error with it, which then if you look at our rental under operations and maintenance, which would fall on board book page 29 for building rental. This one's definitely going to come in under budget on it. We did receive roughly $6,000 worth of payments for the month of June, and we have about $13,000 outstanding from rentals. So even with the $6,000 and the $13,000, we're nowhere near the $100,000 that was budgeted out there. One of the reasons with this, even though we have lacrosse now going for boys and girls, it actually limits the stadium space out there for rentals. So if you come on a weekly basis, you'll see the teams out there till, I don't even know, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock practicing. So there has been some rentals that we were unable to capture due to the addition of lacrosse. I'm not 100% sure how much revenue we lost with that, but I do know that space is limited out at the stadium due to the schedule to try to get all our athletic teams out there and having the field space.
There'll
So I
also
think-
be a reduction for the pool, being
Yeah.
closed May and June.
So we
could
will
look
lose
at-
out
We
on
could
some
look
of
at the
the,
stadium, what we did last year and what we did this year, right? We should be
we
able to
could
tell
do that, yes, but
So the
they're,
difference.
just looking at what was done in that second half of the year with the soccer and the different ones that utilize it, there is less.
Because
with
in
it.
your, I think it's your quarterly report, you break down by facility.
Facility, yes.
So
And
you
we'll
would
have
have-
that coming at the end of the year too.
And you'll have, can
Okay.
you just pull last year's to see where the drop-off was?
We can
So
do
we see
that.
if there was a facility change.
Well, and I think to take that a
First,
step,
second, third, fourth quarter.
oh, I'm sorry, gentlemen.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think, I guess, that was my question about why rental was not keeping up with projections. How was the budget built then for rental? I mean, obviously, girls and boys lacrosse was built into the schedule. It was anticipated to be offered. So I'm just, as we kind of look at next year's budget, how do we get to a reasonable rental number?
Yeah, the rental was looked at a 3-year history. It was slowly increasing with it at the time, so we took kind of a 3-year average, and that's where it fell. And we didn't want to, project less than what we had the previous year with that average. That's why we kept with the 100,000 with it.
Kristen, do you remember what you put in the budget for the FY '20 for rental?
I do not, but I do believe I lowered it based off of, slightly based off of, I used the April 30th actuals at the time.
Okay.
To kind of project where I thought we would be for June 30th.
Okay.
But then I will certainly update it once we have the June 30th.
Okay, and then
actuals.
if the pool comes online sooner than expected, do those rentals come back?
I don't know what the Bullets are doing for their swim lessons and swim team. I know they negotiated something with Riverside Country Club. So it'll just be a matter of how long of an agreement they sign. Is it through the summer or just through July? Because in August, the first week of August, we start girls swim team practice and some of that stuff.
Sure.
So they will be back in August, for sure, the Bullets.
And I know the summer is usually a lighter time for the pool too, compared to the course of the year. Moving on, there was no other questions submitted on the revenue expense report. Moving on to the student activity report, just as a reminder, the negative numbers are actually positive in that. There were no questions submitted on the student activity report.
I'm going to use that same term in my own checkbook.
Any other questions for Scott?
I think I did have one more question, just in general background on investment management. How are those funds managed? Who handles that?
Township treasurer handles
So
that on
it's all
behalf
part of that group, okay.
On behalf of the districts on that. The hard part there is getting an exact number as to what they're going to pool on behalf.
Do they hire an actual money manager, or are they doing that with internal resources? Do we
They
understand?
do it internal with their CFO on it. And usually you can estimate, depending on what the pool amount of the money is, you get about 2%.
They don't
They
use a
have-
third party like PMA or someone else?
From
to
what
do
I
investment?
understand is they do it on behalf of the districts with it.
Yeah. I think it's
And
something
they average
probably
about
to,
2%.
well, they did very
with
well,
their return.
obviously, this year, right?
Mhm.
They, as many
But they
people
also
did.
increased the amount of money that was pooled. So I mean, even though it looks like it did really
Right.
well, that's the hard part, is determining exactly what are they going to pool. And I know I had a conference call with Kristen, with the township treasurer, in regards to this, and I was pretty intimate. Tell me how much you're pooling. How much are
Yeah.
you pooling? I really want to try to get this closer and capture an accurate figure. And really didn't get a very accurate answer with it, and just said, if I were you, I would budget this. And it was kind of like, okay, well, I can't budget like that. My board's not going to allow that.
And we are obligated to use them exclusively for investment purposes?
Yes, we don't even get it. All our money goes through them and then they get distributed to us.
Okay.
We also did see an increase in the revenue for that because of the working cash money that we had. We had a higher balance, so that's why we got more revenue than we expected just on investment.
Okay, thank you.
On behalf of the district and the high school and on the Board of Education, this is Scott's last board meeting. So we want to thank you for your years of service and your hard work and dealing with a lot of questions. And so we wish you nothing but the best of luck as you move on to be the CFO over at Lindop. So
Thank
again,
you.
thank you for all your effort over the last 3 years. Yep.